Now, the final scene of the story I am telling you. Upon arriving at our place, I head towards my apartment, and he heads to his, on a different level from mine. I find my wife in the kitchen, and as soon as I enter, she notices that I am not well. I tell her about my strange and frightening evening in detail. She listens to me attentively, and as the story unfolds, I see her concern growing. After all, it was she who had found the broken Ouija board and insisted that we move. When she finishes what she was doing in the kitchen, we settle in the living room, in front of the TV, to watch a movie. We wanted to push this story out of our minds. We didn't have that chance. A few moments after starting the movie, we began to hear screams. Disturbed, we looked at each other and knew where the screams were coming from. We heard things breaking, doors slamming, children crying, a woman screaming. Then suddenly nothing. The silence was interrupted by the sounds of someone knocking on our door. I already knew who it would be. I just wondered if it would be my friend or the other one. I opened the door. He says to me, "Come with me, let's go to the cafe." I don't want to go at all, but my concern for my friend's well-being prevails. I put on my boots and coat, and we go out again. It was 1:30 a.m. The cafe wasn't far from the house, and it's the kind of place that never closes, open 24 hours a day. We had the habit of going there, so I knew his order well. This time, I order our usual coffees, pay, and bring him his. In the meantime, one of his friends, who was there before us, comes to greet him. My neighbor speaks normally. He asks how things are going, and shows no strange behavior. After exchanging some jokes, this friend leaves us. And then it's incomprehensible. When he turns back to me, he says, "Did you see how he didn't notice anything?" But it was no longer my neighbor. The cold had returned, and with it, the fear. That strange and demonic smile gave me goosebumps. When he finally gives attention to the coffee, he says, "This is not what I drink," and gets up to buy another one. After ordering his coffee, he suggests that we go for a walk outside. It's now 2 a.m. It's at that moment that I tell him, "You know what? I'd rather go back home." He replies, "If you go back, something horrible will happen tonight." I was scared. I had had enough. I didn't understand anything about this situation, but I felt compelled to do what he asked. After all, I had in front of me the consequence of a Ouija session, the result of having touched a paranormal game. I felt powerless and pity for my friend. We stayed walking outside until 3 a.m. before we each returned home. My wife was still awake when I got back. We agreed that day, never again with paranormal games. My friend was never the same after that. His life spiraled out of control. There came a time when we had to part ways. The entity had changed him so much that I no longer recognized my friend. The last thing I heard about him was that he was well and truly on his way to losing his mind. Ouija is no game. It truly is a door to the unknown.